Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you're listening to the podcast Capturing Magic. I'm Bill Rogers, the voice of Disney. Thanks very much for listening.
Hey everyone, welcome to Capturing Magic. I'm Steph, and I am here today with Tania Hickman, who can be found at everymagicmoment.com, and Tanya H666, right, Tanya?
Yeah.
I can talk. On Instagram and Twitter. Hi, Tanya.
Hello.
We also have here with us Heather Winfield, who can be called, my goodness, who can be called Heather. And she can be found at heatherw.com/character. And her username on Instagram and Twitter is Heather W. Tell me again.
25.
That's what. Yeah. Okay. Oh my goodness. This is a rough start for this show. So sorry. We like to keep it casual and informal around here in case this is your first time listening to the show. All right. Today's show is all about prepping for a Disney trip and prepping to capture the magic on a Disney trip and what we do to get ready.
Yes.
So I have a system that I kind of go through now. When I'm
you go through your system because ours is a little bit more informal. So you go and we'll elaborate.
Okay. So, the first thing always that I do the night before I leave is I go through and make sure that all of my stuff's charged, and I plug it in and charge it. And so here's my stuff. My QX100, which is the lens that I dearly love. Are you still using yours, Tanya?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that lens.
Yeah. Okay. So how long have you had yours now? 3 years?
I got it when it came out. Like I pre-ordered it. So
yeah.
It's been 3 years.
I think it's been
I know
3
you've
years.
had it at least since 2013. Because I remember when I was out there in October that you had it.
I had it. Okay. So I had just gotten it then because I got it for my birthday that year.
Yeah,
so
and you had just gotten it on one of my trips too when we were there for something because we all got together for
that
dinner.
October trip.
That's
It was that October trip,
trip.
and you had just gotten it, so you've had it for 3 years now. And I got mine shortly after that, and it's honestly still one of my very favorite pieces of camera equipment that I've ever bought. I think hands down.
I'm not disappointed with that purchase at all.
Yeah, me either. And I do know a person, I'm not going to call her out on the show, that bought it and was not happy with it because of some of the image quality issues. I think she had a lemon, honestly.
Yeah, I have not had a single quality, especially a quality issue.
Yeah.
Like, as far as images, like, if anything, like, it would be more like an equipment or a phone issue than it would be anything else. But, like, the actual quality of the photos has always been stellar.
Yes, I totally agree. And then I also, this last time before my last Disney trip, I bought a new Gorilla Pod for it because my other one had seen better days for sure. I almost lost it in the Grand Canyon, actually.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because my Gorilla Pod popped, like the lens popped off of the bottom of the Gorilla Pod and it almost went rolling down into the Grand Canyon.
Oh my gosh.
Like something straight out of a movie. Yeah, it was.
Gorilla Pods are supposed to be like indestructible.
Well, they haven't had me test them, obviously, because let me tell you, I am hard on stuff. Any stuff, computer programs, apps, equipment, I'm hard on it. So if it can survive me, then we'll say it can survive a gorilla.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep mine on a little Gorilla Pod too.
Yeah, and that was one of the best tips. I had actually tried it on a smaller little tripod, and I didn't like it as much as I liked the Gorilla Pod, so I had to buy a new one. That's also a tip that you gave me as well. With the Gorilla Pod. So, and then I also I started doing this my last trip because the one before that, settings were wrong. Somehow on my QX100, the resolution got changed, and I don't know if it's when a battery was low or an app update or something. And so a lot of my photos from my Disney trip that I just shared the book with, the December one, I couldn't put into a big full, like a big space on the page because they were too low of resolution. So I went through and changed that, and that's something that I need to make sure that I take care of. When I was using an SLR, I also would check the time and date setting on my cameras to make sure that that synced up, because nothing's worse when you get home and get all your photos together and the times are all different.
Yeah, that just happened to me with the cruise, because I use a SLR for the first time on this cruise, along with my regular camera, my phone, and I don't know, the time on the SLR somehow was wrong. I think it's the AM and PM got mixed up. So it's like, oh yeah. But I always have to, that's one of the things I do. I always check, because especially when you're going from like Disneyland to Disney World and making sure everything's right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so then I also make sure that my little printer is, when I go to Disneyland, I don't use it at Disney World. I haven't. At least I've used it before in the past, and the cast members at Disney World don't get as excited about my little souvenirs for them as my ones at Disneyland do. So for those that don't know, I usually take a little portable printer with me, because, you know, my Mary Poppins bag has everything in it. And I have little cards that say, thank you for being part of our magic, or something like that. And I will, on the sly, if there's a cast member that's really made a difference for us, I'll take a picture of either them doing their job or else of them with us, and print it out, and then put that on the little card and hand it to them. They're always thrilled to death with it.
Yeah.
So I make sure that that's charged. This last trip was the first time. So in the past, I've taken my Happy printer, which is a zinc Happy printer, and I love that thing. It does a great job. This last time I ordered a Polaroid zip printer to try that out. Yeah.
How was it? Because it's thinner, right?
It's
smaller.
So light.
Smaller. Yeah. That's my only problem. I love that zinc printer, but it is like heavy duty.
It's heavy. And then just the printer by itself is not too bad, but you put that battery pack on there. Oh boy. Yeah.
And it's like 5 pounds.
Yeah. You might as well be 20 by the end of the day when you've been hauling it around Disney all day. So yeah, the Polaroid zip printer, I love the weight. The prints, I don't think, and it uses the same zinc technology, zinc paper, all of that stuff is pretty much the same. But I was not as happy with the prints in the zip the Polaroid zip as I am the zinc Happy. But that being said, I'll take the sacrifice and not have the heavy weight of the Happy.
Yeah.
I'll take the zip again and again, just because it's super portable, and it doesn't take up as much room in my bag either. I can wear my Vera Bradley hipster now with that printer. I could still fit the zinc Happy printer in my Vera, but then I couldn't fit anything else.
Yeah.
No autograph books or anything like that. So yeah. Okay, so then make sure that that's charged, and that I have paper to print on, and that I have a little card to stick it to. So all of that stuff is ready to go. And then I have an external battery charger that I take with me. Do you guys use those? You girls use those?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I have more
like
than
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have like three in my bag at a time.
Okay, so I just recently had to get a new one. Well, a year ago. Recently had to get a new one, and I went with, because the one that I was using, the new Trent, they weren't making anymore, which I loved that thing, so I was sad about that. I went with the Anker Astro 16,000 megahertz. Not loving it because it accidentally turns on.
And that's so weird that it does that, because usually, like, if something's not plugged into it, then it shouldn't stay on.
Well, here's the thing. It does. And it also has... yeah, I know. Right?
It does.
And it has a flashlight. And that thing accidentally turns on. I can't even tell you how many times I've been in a movie theater and been like, why is my purse glowing? Yeah. And then I have to dig it out. And on top of that, so I'm telling you the model so that you cannot buy it. Don't make my mistake. And the other thing is that I can't figure out once that flashlight gets turned on, I can't figure out how to turn it off. Just without going through a whole bunch of combinations of turning off and on and on and off, and it's obnoxious.
I have, my biggest external charger has a has a flashlight on it too. And it's never accidentally turned on in my bag, but I've hit buttons to accidentally turn on the flashlight. And I'm like, oh man. And now I got to figure out how to turn it off.
Yes.
Like that flashlight is a pain in the butt.
It is. It's not a good idea. I don't know who decided.
I'm not sure the reason for it either. Like I'm not.
Well, it's probably like if you're using it, like if you don't have any electricity,
yeah,
that's out.
I guess so, if it's an emergency. But there's been one time that I've used it where I've been like, oh yeah, I have that flashlight on my external battery. I can use it.
And then you probably couldn't remember how to use it. Like it always turns off, and then when you need it, you're like, how do I turn it on?
Yeah. Do you guys know the brands of the external batteries that you have and which ones you like? If there's one that you really like or that you want to steer people away from.
I use
Heather has Halo ones, right?
Yeah. I like them. I have several different ones.
I don't know. I'm trying to look. The only one I could see in my site right now is a $5 one I got at Dunkin' Donuts. And it works fine for one charge for sure.
Good. That's really
Mine
good.
are random ones I got off of Amazon, and I haven't actually had an issue with any of them. Like I have a couple smaller ones that give me like 2 to 2.5 charges. I have bigger ones that give me like 4 charges. I got a really cool, and I'll probably never use it, but it's a Captain America shield. And it's gorgeous, and I probably never use it, but I don't know. Like, they're around here somewhere. I don't know. I have a bunch of them that I just use around the house, and
if you are looking for an external battery charger, I would suggest doing the 16,000 megahertz around there or above, because then you get several charges out of it, and you don't have to charge it overnight either. I can go, when I'm at Disney, I can go 2 or 3 days on that and just recharge my phone. If I'm only charging my phone, if I'm sharing it with everybody, then I have to charge it every day. But what were you going to say, Heather?
No, I was going to say, I have one that I really only use when I'm like on the plane and I need to recharge it because it's like heavy. But the other ones I have are lighter, but I still can usually get like 2 charges out of it. So like I'll be in the parks and I'll charge it, and then I might need it later in the day, and I could either like half charge it or even like fully charge it, and they're fine. Just, I would say stay away from, there's ones that are like the lipstick ones, because those you don't get many charges out of.
Yeah, those ones aren't really worth it.
Exactly. I totally agree.
And we'll have to see. I just got a new phone, so I don't have to charge as much. So I'm excited to see the next time I go to the parks, like how well my battery holds up now, since I have a new phone.
Oh yeah, your 7 Plus.
My 7 Plus. The battery's doing really well. I've only had to charge it. I don't even charge it overnight. I charge it once every day and a half.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing.
What?
New phones are always like that when you first.
Yeah.
Like they're always,
and then like a month later, it's like
then a month later, it all
like normal.
Once it settles in,
it all goes down the tube after that.
Once your 30 days has passed.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing that I do is I make sure that I have charging cords for all of these devices. So I have to make sure that I have a charging cord for my phone, my watch, my printer, my QX100 lens, and then a charger for my external charger.
Do you always make sure? Yeah, I was gonna say, do you always make sure you have a wall charger?
Yes, that's
because I made the mistake. I call them nubbies. I don't know what people call them. I call them a nubby, but like I used to make the mistake of not carrying one of those around with me, and then like we'd be in a restaurant and there'd be a plug right next to me, and I'm like, oh, that's a wasted opportunity. Yes. So I always prefer to have one.
That's good. Yeah, this is just packing for the trip, but sometimes I pack them in my Disney bags. Sometimes I don't. Most of the time I don't.
The iPhone ones are so small. I always just make sure I have.
Yeah, it's very true. And the chargers, okay, for my printer, my lens, and my external charger, they all use the same kind of charging cord, and so they can share. Which is good. Yeah. Okay, so, and then I also make sure that I have an iPhone charging cord actually attached to the external battery, because I've made that mistake before too.
Yeah, I keep mine, at least like the main one, I keep them in a plastic bag. Tanya's laughing because I keep everything in a plastic bag.
Keep literally everything in a plastic bag.
I always have the cord like with it in there, and so I'll keep like the bag when I'm at Disney or whatever, and so I'll have the bag inside my bag, so even when I'm charging it, like I won't forget to take that and put it in the bag, because otherwise I'll be like, what was this empty bag for? And then like I'll remember to make sure I have that. So I keep everything together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I always keep the same, like when I put my chargers in things, I have these, I think they're from e-bags. And so I put the chargers in those. And so when I'm not on a trip, I keep that in the carry-on bag. So then when it's time for me to go, I have all the bags there. And so I can remember, like, I know what thing goes into which bag, so I won't forget something.
Yes, I have a bag. I organize my stuff inside of bags inside of my bag as well. Mm-hmm. I have bags that I got from Blue Q that I love because they're really quite funny. They're very hilarious. And the one that I put, so I'll put all of my autograph supplies, my little printer, and my cards, and then extra paper for the printer. All of that stuff goes into one that says random crap on the front of it. Yeah.
Nice. Those are cute.
It's very funny. So I love those for organizing all of my stuff. So yeah. I also make sure that I have whatever we're going to use for autographs. I make sure that I have. My youngest is still working on filling up all of my kids would be, but she's the one that's been going to Disney the most often.
Yeah.
So that autograph book that I put together for them a few years ago from your autograph pages that you made, Tanya.
Uh-huh.
That are still for sale in Etsy, correct?
Yes, they're in my Etsy store.
Yes. Under what is the name?
Crossbone Cuts, I believe.
Yeah.
Crossbone Cuts Designs. I don't know. I'll have to link it. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
Something like
that. You can do a search on Capturing Magic for the autograph book and find it there, and then it's linked up there as well. But that autograph book, she's still working on filling that up, and so we take that with us so that she can get any of the characters that haven't signed it yet. And she still loves, like, that's her favorite thing with that book. And yeah, for sure, like, for real. Because here's the thing, one day on our last Disney trip, I thought, today's not the day that we're doing the characters, so I'm not going to bring her book. We walk in, first thing we see is Alice and Mad Hatter, and we haven't gotten them to sign her book yet. And so she's like, oh, my book. And I didn't bring it today. Of course. So she was mad at me the rest of the day. I heard about it the rest of the day. Yeah.
I feel her. I get it.
I know.
I didn't bring my book with me this time because I feel like I wasn't going to get anyone new, and I didn't get anyone new, but I didn't know. I went to the Club Villain, which was so cool. And I didn't know they signed because they give you a paper, like a thing, and has their autographs on it. So I thought, they don't sign, but they all signed because like I don't have the Maleficent's autograph, so I could have gotten that, and I didn't have the Queen of Hearts autograph, so I was like, ugh, and I had nothing like that I could have gotten it signed on, and I was just like, And when I went to the Halloween party, and I ended up meeting the Queen of Hearts again, but I didn't have anything. But the girl behind me had like a book with cards in it, like what I used to do for with Tanya's stuff that I had it printed separately. I didn't have it like in a book, so she had it like that. And I'm like, do you happen to have an extra one? And they're like, yeah. So I at least got the Queen of Hearts. I had to keep telling because she was with the Tweedles, and I'm like, I don't need yours. I got yours.
Don't sign my card.
Funny. But you should have used your phone. Had her sign on your phone.
I don't have that. I think you have something that does that, right?
Well, you just need a drawing app, and anyone could do it with their finger.
Well,
the face characters can do it with their finger, but
oh yeah, at the villains thing, she's a face character, and it's awesome. I just have to say,
yeah, that's so weird.
She is so cool as a face. It's like one of the best meets I've ever had. It's so much fun.
It looks totally.
You should have taken video because I want to see like how she talks.
I know. Yes. I wish I had. I didn't realize that, and then like she just. Yeah, if you go to my Instagram and see like the selfies, that's only like half the selfies that like she's just like it's awesome.
So funny. It looked like it was a lot of fun, for sure.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, it was expensive, which is why I like kept putting off doing it. But I heard so many good things about it, and it just happened to fall like the one time, like on the trip. It was the day we came back from the cruise, so that night. So yeah, I'm so glad we did it because it was. I mean, the characters were so much fun, and they had like singers and the food and everything was great.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
Just hijack the bad
Just you're just throwing that in there for everyone.
Back to Steph now. Sheesh. Didn't you talking?
Did you know this is my show?
Yeah.
You had your turn the last time we recorded. It's my turn. Okay, so then autographs. I make sure that I have the clickable autograph pens. Is that what you still use?
Yep.
Okay.
And I would also say to make sure you check, test them out, because I always have 2 or 3 in the bag, and I take one with me though when I go to the park, and there's one that isn't as good as the other. So when I went my last trip, when I had been using it, all the signatures were not probably only I care about this, but they weren't completely full, the black ink on it, you know what I mean, right? When it's not, I can't think of words.
They start to get dried out.
Yeah, so make sure you check that. So when I went on the cruise, I thought of a couple different things. Should I get something that I could have them all signed? But eventually I just said, I'll just get a cruise specific autograph book on the ship. But the book is bigger, it's not the same size as that small one. It's the big one, how they have the princess one.
Yeah.
It's really annoying to carry around. But I got everyone. I have to get Goofy signature somewhere to stick in that, because I have everyone else's that I met on that cruise in the book. But that one I made sure that the pen was correct, and so everything looks good.
That is good. I almost went on my last trip with a dried out pen. I decided to test them at the last minute before I left, and I still had enough time to go buy another one. So, because it was dried out. And
another tip is that even if cast members have Sharpies, they will not give it to you.
Really?
Because one time
well, they don't want you to walk off with it. They need it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was, but I was at Disneyland, I think, and I was getting it in the 60th book. I don't remember, but it was something, and I had, no, it was probably still Tanya's Pages, because that's what I mostly use, and I somehow lost a pen, and I don't know where it was, and so I was then going to meet somebody else, and it was, I can't remember who it was, but it was something that wasn't that common, and I was I don't know how, and I went into the store, because I'm sure they have the Sharpies, and they're I have one, but I can't give it to you,
and you're excuse me,
can I buy it? I know.
I was just I'll bring it right back, and I can't remember now who it was for, but yeah, I didn't.
Oh, I'm sure they would lose 100 Sharpies a day if they.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, the character attendants, usually will have that. Like I said, when I was at the Halloween party, I remembered how the character attendants usually have a card too that you can get signed, but she was out, so I had to ask someone behind me. But she had said if you find another attendant with one, I'll get it signed for you. But they usually have Sharpies and everything. But at Disneyland, they don't always have character attendants. So the thing didn't have a character attendant. I don't remember what it was now, but whatever it was, I didn't have it, and I was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring a pen, people. That's what we're getting at here.
Bring a pen. That's what Heather's trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, so then one of the other things that I do before I leave, but I do this usually a long time before, the night before, is make sure that I have my PhotoPass and or Memory Maker in place. Now with my PhotoPass on my AP, I don't have to think about it anymore at Disneyland, but still Disney World, you still have to take care of it. Make sure you buy it ahead of time so you can get the discount, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also think through photos that I might want to get so I can make sure that I get them while I'm there in the park. Sometimes I've gone as far as making a list, but not usually. Usually it's just in my head.
I was just going to say I make a list.
We've tried the in your head thing, and then
because I always end up forgetting something. So I make sure usually before a trip, sometimes it's even just things I want to do, because if they have new things out. But I say new things, and I will list that, and I'll list including photographs, the new magic shots. I wanted to make sure I got on the new magic shots this trip, and this way I'm not going to forget anything.
That's really good. Are you making these lists on paper or in an app?
I just use the note thing on the phone, it's just easier for me to do that.
Yeah. Totally.
You could go all fancy and have, the apps that have lists or whatever. I just do it on there.
Yeah.
I mean, I did that even when I was on the cruise. They had the characters in the different outfits, and I knew all the different sets of outfits. So like I just put it for every character, and so then each time I met them, I just like italicsed it, so I knew I had met them.
Oh, that's good. That's a great idea. I was going to ask you something else. I can't remember what it is now. Okay. When one of the other things that I've started telling people to do, because it's changed since I went to Disney World, is to make sure that you take a screenshot of all of your plans that you have, of your fast passes and your dining reservations and all of that stuff. Screenshot them in the app or in my Disney experience online, because once that day is passed, they won't let you go back anymore. They used to let you go back, and I could come home from a trip and screenshot everything, and then that way I would have it. But it's also a good idea to do it ahead of time, because sometimes the internet isn't that great.
Yeah, I always do that. I mean, I'll do that even before the trip, but then during the trip, I'll do it too, because sometimes you'll change things or add things. And so I just do it and I screen cap it, and it's easier than opening the app. And we mentioned this another time, like you have to sign in every single time now you open the stupid app.
Yes.
So if I wouldn't just go and be like, oh, I can't remember like exactly what time the fast pass is, have to go in, sign in, hope that the internet's working. Just let me look at the screen cap.
So
I also put my,
No, go ahead.
Sorry. I also put my fast passes in the calendar app. So, I could look at it quickly also. Just like, I don't put each one in separate, but I'll put like a fast pass thing. And then like, if I need to look at it quickly, I have them all there also.
Yes, that's a great idea. I've done that as well as with my dining reservations too, with my confirmation number in there as well.
Yeah, that.
Just because it's easier than trying to get into my Disney experience. I was going to ask you, when you were at Disney World this last time, did you have any experiences, or in the last couple times, have you had any experiences where they close the ride down and notify you about it with your fast pass?
Yes.
Okay. How are they notifying you?
It's there's email, which I never check my email.
No, that's the thing that and totally annoying.
And I know. And the other way is it's just like in the app, like you have the app, they should have, and like you have it that you can have things turned on, like you should get a notification.
Yes.
But you don't. It just shows up. So yeah, I know I talked about the whole Frozen thing, but that other time I went and in the pouring rain, and like I walked all the way over there, and they were like, it's down.
Closed. Yes.
And so I got a thing after the fact that it was down.
Oh, an email or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I checked my email and I didn't have anything. And then after 10 minutes later, I had an email.
Yeah, that's okay. It was the same problem when I was there a couple of years ago. I was hoping that maybe they had updated it, taken care of it, because that's the same thing that would happen to us. We'd get to the park and we would be almost late for our fast pass on Mine Train. So we would hike it all the way back there, and every single morning Mine Train was down. And they would say, it's down, and I would say, oh, and they would say, did you check your email? And I'm like, no, I didn't check my email. I'm on vacation. I'm not going to check my email. So I'm thinking, why can't they text me? Why can't they have an automated text? Why can't they have an automated notification in the app? Come on.
Yeah,
Disney,
I don't understand why they don't have a notification in the app.
Yeah, and they even have a thing like when you do the app and they say, can we send you notifications or whatever? And it's like,
yes,
and they even have a notification thing in the app. One of the bars is notifications, but I don't know why they don't do that. I don't know have you been to any of the restaurants since they started texting you?
No.
Okay, so when you
have.
Oh yeah,
they did text me at Cafe Orleans.
Right. So
I take that back. Yeah, Cafe Orleans. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do that at Disney World too, and so even you have your ADR or anything, they say what's your number, and then they text you. If you don't have a phone, they still give you a beeper, but so they do that. So why can't, I just don't understand that when your room is ready, if you have an online check-in, and they text you when your room is ready for that.
Right.
So I don't know why they make such a big thing with this, it's just like.
Why can't you let me know when the ride is down so that I cannot walk very quickly to the back of the park?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. I think that's Yeah, that's my list of stuff that I do prep wise. I also, one other thing that I put on my list is that I make a customized touring plan at touringplans.com, and I do that before we leave because that does help me make sure that I can fit everything in that I want to fit in.
Okay.
So that's, you're like, okay. A lot of people, like I'm learning that I'm one of the few people that go to Disney a lot that still does that. But especially when I'm taking people that haven't ever been before, I really like to make sure that I can maximize our time and get everything done. And so I do a customized plan and touring plan.
You kind of need to now. I mean, the parks are so crowded that it's like you kind of can't wing it anymore. You have to have some sort of.
That's how I feel.
Plan.
I mean,
you have to have some sort of game plan.
You do have to have a game plan for sure. And I've learned some really great tips and tricks, is what I'm trying to say, by getting in the Touring Plans app forum from other users that have figured some systems out and some pretty atypical ways of working Disneyland, California Adventure especially, so that you can hit everything. I'm not going to share it here though, but yeah, because that's not what this show is about. But yeah, really, I mean, great information, great stuff. But that's probably the only other thing that I do before every single trip. Yeah. It's harder for me to do to Disney World just because it's usually that's so many days and it's kind of a pain to enter in all that information. It's a little time consuming. It's not, but the great thing about it is once you enter in all of the rides that you want to ride and the day that you want to ride it is you just hit optimize and then it optimizes for you. And then when you get to the park, you can optimize it again and it tells you what to ride in what order, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So do you guys have anything else you want to add?
Well, one of the things I try to do, but I've gotten away from that since I got the new phone because I had more memory, is I go through and I delete pictures. I mean, after, they're backed up.
Yes.
But I'm you stuff that I keep pictures on my phone, even though I don't. Tanya's the opposite.
I know.
But
I know she had 2 photos.
And so I normally will go through and delete pictures before I go on a trip, but I haven't been doing that. And then when I went on the cruise, I went and I, waited to the end of the cruise, and be able to transfer my pictures to the phone. And it took a half hour because I had so many. And I was really only doing character ones too. And it's a lot. And I was looking at my memory and it's not that it's low, but it's still a lot less than I would expect. So I have to do that before my next trip. I'm going to have to go through and start deleting this stuff again. Because you never want to be somewhere and then it's oops, no memory.
No, you don't. And especially when you're on a cruise, you can't do the online backup, the Wi-Fi, iCloud stuff, which is how I am able to fit so many photos on my phone is I have the save memories option setting turned on. One thing I would recommend for people, if you are somebody that runs out of memory, sometimes, often, whatever, there is a little flash drive that you can get. I got one for my husband and I have one as well, actually, that I was
going to ask if anybody had one of
those.
I
love it.
I just recently saw them.
Yes. It's a SanDisk flash drive and it has its own little Wi-Fi connection in it. So you connect your phone. You have to download the app in the App Store. It has great directions included with the device. And so you download the app from the iTunes, whatever, the App Store. And I believe they're Android and they're either version. And you connect to the little USB with your Wi-Fi through your phone. You turn it on and then you can transfer all of your stuff. And it works really quick. I was surprised how fast it worked, but I took one with me on my last trip to Disneyland because I wasn't sure how the Wi-Fi was going to be where we were staying. And I wanted to make sure that I had my photos in 2 different locations in case something happened to my phone. So I took one of those with me and backed up every night and it worked great.
I feel like I just saw something somewhere too, and I don't know if it was a real thing or in my imagination, but something that plugs into, it's like a little USB drive, but it plugs into the lightning port on your phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? That is a thing.
That is a thing. It's also made by SanDisk. I haven't tried that one. And so
Okay.
I don't know how it works or if it works well. I can't recommend it because I've tried the SanDisk one. I actually wrote an article about it on the Daily Digi, I think a couple of years ago. When I very first started doing stuff on my phone and I was doing my everyday layout because people were asking, what do you do when you run out of space? I haven't had that problem yet because I've done that lower resolution and then I move stuff back and forth.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's a great, great thing. And I would recommend it if you need more storage for your phone or you want to have a second location to store your stuff. When you're on vacation, it's a really good option for sure.
Yeah, that is nice because Wi-Fi could be spotty. Like I back up everything to Dropbox, just the camera upload from my phone into Dropbox. But that can be like videos can take a really long time, especially if you're on like not very good Wi-Fi
at a hotel.
In a hotel somewhere. Yeah,
exactly. And that's why I wanted to have that little thing with me, and it's worked out really great. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely clear all the photos off my phone before going on a vacation. I also turn off any unnecessary notifications to save my battery.
Yes, I do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and go in and check and see which apps are checking your locations or following your locations. I mean, there's several apps that I go in and make sure that I have them downloaded, updated. The Disney one, the official Disney one, I always make sure that that's updated. The Lines app, which is the touring plans, that one. And then when I'm going to Disney World, I also, the TWIT one, is what I call it, but because that's their abbreviation. It's the one where I use it to figure out how long it'll take me to get from one place to another around Disney World.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to pull it up here in a second.
I forget what it's called.
Yeah. But, and I'm trying to think if there are any
tell you the fastest way to get around is to take an Uber.
Well, yeah, that's kind of
like we're obsessed now.
Well, when I'm at the parks, it's just so much easier than, waiting for the bus and then being on the bus and having people kick you or hit you or having to stand on the bus for 20 minutes when you have a bad knee.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I only did it once though this trip, but I mean, I don't know. I just think it's the best thing around the parks.
For sure. That was something that's kind of newer though in the last year that it's really catching on and people are really using it. And I think that they've been allowed access at Disney World, right? For a while they weren't allowed.
I don't know. I mean, I've been using, I guess it's been about a year. I know that they're also allowed at the airports. Some airports don't allow them, but they're allowed at the Orlando airport.
Yes.
So that's really good. I mean, I've never taken it from the airport, but I've thought about it a couple of times when I'm, in the line, something being like, oh, should I just take an Uber? But I really like too, because a lot of times you'll get Uber drivers who are cast members.
Oh, fun.
So they really know their way around. I've only had one Uber driver that didn't know what she was doing. And she drove backwards.
Oh no!
The street. She missed it was to get to the boardwalk. And like, if you've been to Disney World, like you've seen, it's like a huge sign. This is the boardwalk. And she missed it. And I'm like, oh, there is it. And she's like, oh, okay. Went backwards. I was like, oh my goodness.
Scary.
Uber drivers can be sketchy sometimes.
Yeah, but otherwise, I mean, I've had Uber drivers where they had ears on and.
Oh, fun.
We took Uber a couple times the last time we were at Disneyland.
I took the Uber the one time after the race to get back to the hotel because I was just like, I can't walk anymore.
And are they okay going that short of a distance for you?
Oh yeah,
they're
fine.
We felt the two times that we took Uber, or the 2 or 3 times in combination, was from our hotel to the Disneyland hotel, because it's where we stayed. It's like that can be a bit of a walk. So like to get to our reservations, or just because we didn't want to walk that far, that was really the only place we were going. One time they had closed down the street to get to the hotel. So every time that we went to the hotel, I had to reroute the poor driver and tell him how to get there.
Oh, funny.
Because there's just like, there'd be a crowd this day and the traffic was all backed up, or the fact that for some reason at the Disneyland Hotel, the the GPS like doesn't pinpoint exactly, like it doesn't pinpoint the front of the hotel. It pinpoints downtown Disney.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to rearrange it.
Yeah.
It's funny though.
Okay, that app that I like to use is called Twiz. Is what it is. Twiz. I don't know what that's. It's not Twit. It's Twiz.
Is that just for the Disney
That's
park?
the acronym. It's for Disney World, and so you can pick a park that you're at, and then pick where you want to go, and it'll tell you the transportation options and how long each of them will take.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it tells you car, too. So then you know if, you know. Because if you've never been to Disney World, you're at, you know, the Grand Floridian or the Contemporary, and you're trying to figure out how to get there, you might not know that from the Contemporary, it might be faster just to walk than to take a car.
I wouldn't have known any of that stuff if Heather wasn't there to direct me. I was like, I can't go from here straight to this place. Like I have to stop at one place first, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, like people you don't comprehend how long it's going to take. Like you think like, oh, it's just done properly. Like I can get there in 10 minutes or something. Like, no, that was like one of the best things too about the cruise. Like no matter where you were, like if I had to be somewhere, like I knew it wouldn't take any more than like 5 minutes, you know.
Good.
It's like it's all contained. But you know the Disney Springs, you can get a bus from the park to Disney Springs now.
Yes.
They added so that's great. You still can't do it the other way around, but that's a fun, because we actually did that. We were like at Disney Springs more than we were any park district. It's really funny, but yeah, it's because they completely changed. If you haven't been there, it hasn't even been that long, but I think it's in June where they changed where the buses are, and it's if you're not, it's one of those things where it's kind of grouped by where you're staying. Like if you're not in the deluxe things, you're not in like the front. So like we stay at Pop, so it's almost faster to walk back to Pop than it was to walk to the bus. It's so far away.
Funny. That's really funny. Okay, I think we've covered pretty much everything on getting ready for a trip, right? Do you have anything else, guys, girls?
No. It's pretty much just bring your chargers.
Yeah.
You make sure you have, you know, your I can't
make sure your memory card in your camera.
Yeah. I almost messed that up. I left it. I always bring with me in my netbook, so it's small, and then that's what I transfer my pictures to each night. And I almost forgot one night that I hadn't taken the card out, and I was like, it's a good thing, because I always carry an extra card with me because I'm me. But I was like, if I went to take a picture and then there's like no card in there, but I also format the cards before I go to, generally.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
I never format my cards ever. I'm afraid I'll lose something I need.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
back in the day when I was hauling a DSLR, I don't take big cameras anymore with me. I'm iPhone only. I got brave, and a couple years ago I decided even to Disney, I'm only going to be iPhone, and it works out great for me.
It's good.
Especially with that QX100, because I can do low light with the QX100. Yeah. If I didn't have that, it would be a different story.
It's like a baby step towards, you know, you have something a tiny bit better than it.
Yes.
And then just the iPhone, but not the bulkiness of the big camera.
Yeah. Because
this trip I was carrying 2 cameras around.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you both for being here. Remind our listeners where they can find you, Tanya.
You can find me at everymagicmoment.com and at TanyaH666 on all social media.
And Heather?
My character site is heatherw.com/character, and on most of the social media, I'm heatherw25, and on Facebook, I'm I Love Characters.
Perfect. We will see you next time on Capturing Magic.